Hi everyone, welcome back to Quirky Pineapples. If you're new here, I'm Vina, a plant-based recipe developer and food blogger, and I'm back with a what I eat in a day. But this one is a really good one because this one is a budget-friendly what I eat in a day. So I'm going to be making some meals throughout the day that are pretty simple to make, but also going to save you some money. And so for breakfast today, I've got my little iced latte that's already ready to go. We make our coffee at home. Of course, that saves us a little bit of money in and of itself. But for breakfast, I'm having a breakfast burrito, which I haven't had in a good while. I love breakfast burritos. But one thing about going out for a breakfast burrito, especially a vegan one, is that um, they are really pricey. And so I think for a breakfast burrito at like my favorite breakfast place, a couple of different ones. One of them, I think they charge about $15 for their breakfast burrito. And then the other, I think it's more closer to like 13, but it can be a lot. So yeah, I'm making my breakfast burritos at home. So I've got like some potatoes that I had in the oven. We're just gonna get those out. And they've been all done for a little while now. But I just have like tater tots. I have some tofu scramble here off to the side. And I've just got like some salsa and some chipotle sauce, something really easy, something really like minimal ingredients, but a lot that goes into that tofu scramble. I've already made my tofu scramble because I make it many times on our videos. I've made it, gosh, probably about 4 or 5 times on other what I eat in a day videos. So I figured I'd make it off camera and just kind of build this delicious burrito for you guys. So yeah, let's get started because I'm hungry. Okay, so you guys, why did I almost burn my burrito trying to multitask? I have this thing where whenever I make breakfast burritos, like I like to grill them. And I mean, it's really good that way, but yeah, I walked away for a second and I started to smell something. I was like, oh gosh, no, please don't mess up your burrito. But yeah, so I like to make like do make ahead breakfast burritos, or sometimes I will do just like the fix-ins. So like for example, I'll wake up in the morning and like immediately like pop some tater tots into the oven, and then when I'm all like dressed and everything, I'll like make my breakfast burrito. I don't usually grill it on a weekday, but yeah, I've got left a lot of leftover tofu scramble, and I've got plenty of tortillas if I want to make breakfast burritos. Probably for, I would say, the next like 3 days, I could probably make breakfast burritos, especially for like both husbandtron and I. I think 2 to 3 days we could get out of the tofu scramble. We could make ourselves breakfast burritos. So super cheap to make, and then also like you get leftovers out of it, which is always really important. So yeah, so I've got my delicious burrito here. It's little. I didn't want to overstuff it because I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to roll it. So I probably could have stood there and put a little bit more. But yeah, it's been a while since I've had a good burrito. Mm. But yeah, like to me, some tofu scramble that's really well flavored. I usually throw in some spinach, some type of potato, and salsa. You could just put salsa in, but I really like the chipotle sauce, so I always kind of buy the chipotle sauce to put inside. Even though I feel like I would love to figure out how to make my own chipotle sauce, but it makes a perfectly good burrito without any mock meat or anything like that, because I know mock meats can be a little bit pricey. Sometimes when I make these, I'll use like the vegan, like the soy riso, which isn't particularly expensive, but You know, you could also add that in if you wanted a little extra flavor, but I find once I put the salsa and everything in there, I don't really need it. And even when I was vegetarian, when I would go and get breakfast burritos, I really just wanted the egg and potato with cheese, and it was good. So yeah, my tofu scramble turned out kind of better than what I've made it before. Actually, because I finally got to the Indian market and got some kala namak to put in, so it is a lot more eggy, which is really nice. So it has a little bit more like flavor depth. But yeah, so I'm gonna go and enjoy the rest of my nice little latte. Yes, I'm gonna enjoy my latte, finish up my breakfast, and then I think what I'm gonna do, because lunch today is a rice dish. I'm going to get my rice started a little bit early, because sometimes it's like when it sits in the rice cooker, it stays warm anyway. But then the rice gets nice and fluffy usually if I leave it in there. So I think I'm gonna prep some rice for lunch. And yeah, like I said, just enjoy my breakfast and everything. So yeah, so hopefully, like, if you ever make, if you're ever like in a pinch for time in the morning, you can pre-roll these, put them in the freezer, put them in the refrigerator, reheat them, or throw them on the skillet so that you can grill them up. Just don't do like me and leave them there. But yeah, so that you have like a quick breakfast in the morning time. Or if you're one of those people who don't eat breakfast, like really eat breakfast, it's a good thing to like pack for lunch. There's some times where I will pack my breakfast for lunch if I don't have time in the morning. I try to eat breakfast, but it doesn't always happen. But yeah, all right, so I'll see you guys back at lunchtime. All right, so I've got my delicious bowl of chili crunch tofu here. And it's just the tofu with rice and some carrots and cucumbers. I wanted to put avocado on, but then I realized that avocados right now are really expensive. And I feel like one avocado would even kind of break the bank on this one, as far as keeping it affordable. So no avocado on this one. At least if you're trying to keep it economical. Otherwise, splurge away on the avocado, right? But yeah, it's just a nice chili crunch tofu. I usually just bake up the tofu, and then I make a sauce with agave or maple syrup, whichever one I have on hand, some chili crunch oil, which again I always have on hand, and soy sauce, things that I always have on hand, and just made some rice to go with it, threw on some veg. I thought about if I wanted to use frozen vegetables, but I just feel like for something that's going to be a little spicy, some cool veggies would probably be better. Mm. Baking my tofu and throwing a sauce on it is one of my favorite ways to eat tofu at this point, because it's kind of quick. I mean, you throw it in the oven, you let the oven do everything, and then just whip up a sauce, and boy, do I have a lot of different sauces. So sometimes I'll do the same method and I'll add peri peri sauce, or I'll add barbecue sauce. What other sauces? I've got other sauces. Harissa paste, lots of different ways to do it. But yeah, so I'm gonna enjoy my lunch, and then I'll see you guys back at dinner time. And then I'm really excited because I'm going to also be making a dessert today, which is exciting because I feel like I haven't made a dessert for what I eat in a day in a while. But we'll talk about it more when we get there. But yeah, so gonna go enjoy lunch now. Alrighty, so it is kind of midday, almost dinner time. And I want to get my dessert started because it has to go in the oven and bake. And I figure while it's in the oven baking, I can have it, I can fix dinner. And so that can already be going. So it's ready when dinner is ready and just cooling off. So I'm actually going to make a cherry galette. I think you say a galette, a cherry galette. And so I've got my pie crust that has to be done first and has to go in the fridge for a little while. So I figured I'd prep I figured I would prep the pie crust with you guys. So real simple. I just got some flour, some chilled vegan butter, some salt, some sugar, and some icy cold water. And so I've got my little food processor here to help me because it's like 1,000 times easier to make pie crust when you've got a food processor. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put my flour in and hopefully not get too much flour outside of the food processor. There we go. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add in my cold butter. The secret to a nice flaky crust, Gillette's pretty much just use a pie crust. So that's what I'm making is a pie crust. Cause it's gonna fold the same way. So pie crust is pretty easy to make. I just like to keep a simple recipe. Over like the holidays, I made like a sweet potato pie using this. Uh-oh, almost forgot my sugar. And don't be like me, like whisk your salt and your sugar with your flour first. I forgot to do that. And let's go ahead and get it all blended up, and then it should start creating like a nice crumble. And that's how you know that the butter is like fully combined in there. And then I'll start to like slowly add my water until I get the consistency that I want. Okay, nice. That didn't take very long. And since I have you guys like on the tripod, I'll grab my phone so that you guys can see. Yeah, I'll record what that crumb is supposed to look like. It's supposed to look nice and sandy in texture and crumbly. Once it's gotten to this texture, which is like completely perfect, I'm gonna put my lid back on because I have a little hole at the top here that I can add my water. You'll usually need about a 1/4 cup, like a couple tablespoons to a 1/4 cup of water. So we don't pour it all in at once, we just do a little bit at a time. So I'm gonna pour about 1/3 of that in there. Now it's starting to like clump up, which is good. So I'm gonna add a little bit more. All right, at this point, it's starting to, I don't know if you can tell, it's starting to kind of like clump together. And I just wanna touch it and see if it is kind of soft enough. I'm probably gonna do just a little bit more water, not too much, because I don't want super wet dough. Oh, that's good. I don't need to add any more water. It's always one of those things, like it said, like, you know, you're not 100% sure what you're gonna need or how much water you're gonna need. You're gonna need some, but really the best way to judge it is touching it and seeing. And it's like a nice Play-Doh consistency. So I think we're actually gonna go with that. It's come together as a nice dough ball, so I'm gonna stop there with the water. And I'm going to get a little bit more flour. I don't know why I put it away. I do need to flour my surface before I start working with it. I don't recommend having your rings on while you do this, but I'm gonna flour my surface and I'm going to take this off, remove my blade, because that'll help remove some of the dough. There we go. Oh, that's nice. And you'll see I've got, it just comes out nice and easy there. Yay. Making your own desserts at home, especially as a vegan, is always going to be a more economical thing, because what I have found is that getting pastries and things like that from bakeries, and don't get me wrong, support your local vegan bakery or the bakery that takes, you know, makes an effort toward making vegan sweets and pastries from time to time. But you know, going regularly can start to add up after a while. So I'm just kneading the dough to like get it to kind of form a nice little dough ball for me. Um, I'll probably just leave my flour for later, but it's like a nice, perfect little ball of dough. And I'm just gonna chill it for a little bit. One, because it'll give me a much flakier crust if I work with this while it's cold. Of course, like when we worked with it to begin with, the butter was cold. I put it in the freezer actually, and the icy cold water. But, you know, of course, working with my hands with it, it will start to get to room temperature. Oh, this is such a perfect little ball of dough. I've made so many pies in my life that I feel like I've kind of got the pie crust situation kind of down pat. Okay, so I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to wrap it in some parchment paper. I really should have taken my ring off because now I've got dough in my ring. I'm going to wrap it in some parchment paper and I'm just going to put it in the fridge and let it chill for about 30 minutes or so, because I do want it to be really easy to work with. I feel like if I chill it for a full hour, it might be a little difficult to work with, but it's kind of good to make it ahead of time. So let me pull out some parchment. And like I was saying, like, it's good to support your local bakery, but vegan sweets are very expensive. And so you've probably already got things like vegan butter, flour, sugar, salt in your fridge and in your pantry. So, you know, you have the makings of something. And so all that I did was go out and get some frozen cherries. Let me just wrap my dough ball here. There we go. All right, so I got a nice little disc. I'm gonna put this in the fridge for about 30 minutes. There we go. But yes, I'm gonna take these off because they're just gonna get worse as we go. But it can add up to be a lot. Like even at the grocery store, I noticed that the sweets and vegan treats and things like that, they're pretty pricey. And I even have like a favorite donut shop that I go to. They make these amazing plant-based donuts. I'm pretty sure I've shown them on the channel before and I love supporting them. But one vegan donut is somewhere between $5 and $6, which when you look at the average cost of a regular donut, that's kind of a lot. So yeah, it can be a little bit daunting to say the least. All right, so I'm gonna get started on the pie filling. I have a pot here and I'm going to grab my cherry pie filling, which I probably should have let thaw out a little bit. So I guess in the meantime, let me like do a little bit of cleanup of my space and then we'll do this. Okay, I'm a little bit more organized now. So I'm going to start making my cherry filling. I've just got like a bag of just regular like sweet dark cherries. I'm gonna go ahead and pour them in. They're just pitted. And this is just some frozen ones from Trader Joe's. I think they were like $2 and something, not too much. And then I'm going to add about a tablespoon of lemon juice. Ideally I would add some lemon zest as well. But I'm pretty sure that the lemons that I have are waxed and we don't want that in our zest. So we're not gonna do that. Nice tablespoon of lemon juice. There we go. And actually let's start with about half of that because we can add but we can't take away. All right, and then I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of sugar, and let's go ahead and turn this on. Now that we've got everything in there, a 1/4 cup of sugar. There we go. And a splash, just a splash of vanilla extract. I have vanilla bean paste, so that's all I have, so I'm just gonna add that. There we go. And then I'm going to add some water, about a 1/4 cup of water. A lot of the juices are gonna come out of the berries anyway. And then about a tablespoon of cornstarch. so that it can thicken. There we go. All right, this was a half tablespoon, so so I needed to add 2 of those in case you were wondering. All right, so we've got that. I need a spatula or something to stir it with. There we go. And so I've got my cherries going here. Because they are frozen, it's going to take a moment, but they're going to like simmer and boil down all good while the pie crust is chilling, and then we'll be able to like roll it out and get it in the oven, and then I can get started on dinner time. But yeah, so I'm gonna let that go, let it get to a bubble, let it thicken up, get nice and juicy, and then I'll do the rest of it. Okay, so my cherry pie filling is all done. So I've got my chilled dough out of the refrigerator. I'm just going to put a little bit of flour on my rolling pin. I'm doing this on my chopping board because I don't really want to do it on my counter. If I have to transfer it to my counter, I will, but for the most part, I should be able to have enough space to do it here. And I just like alternate between going horizontally and then vertically. I just kind of rotate the dough and roll it out little by little. I don't want it to be too thin, but I also don't want the crust to be too thick. I'm working against myself here. I'm going to transfer this to the counter. While I was making my cherry filling, I have to say I taste tested it probably about 20 times. It was so delicious. It was so good. All right, let's move this a little bit. I have to be really careful with it. It's really delicate. I probably could have stood to leave the dough in there for just a little bit longer, but I'm a little impatient. I really would like to get it into the oven. All right, so now I'm gonna roll it onto my rolling pin so that I can get it onto my baking sheet here, and hopefully it cooperates with me. Let's see. There we go. Ah, that worked. Very nice. Oh my gosh, I feel like I've kind of gone on a complete and total cooking and baking spree over the last couple of hours, but it was fun and it was worth it. So what I made for dinner is these Ethiopian berbere spiced butter beans. I've been really curious about using berbere spice in something, so I figured I'd use it in something that I was kind of familiar with, and that's the butter beans. And so I've tasted it a little bit. I haven't tasted it too much, but I am curious because I haven't really like tasted it all together with the butter beans and everything. And I just have some flatbread. Oh gosh, this looks really good. That is delicious. That is really delicious. Yeah, this is good. This is really, really good. And then I have my my little gallette here. Ooh, she struggled just a little bit getting it out of the oven. Yeah, I did struggle just a little bit getting it out of the oven. I'm not gonna taste it just yet because I want to finish up my dinner. But yeah, this is really, really good. But I'll let this cool a little bit more before I touch it. So I'm gonna go and enjoy my dinner, and then I'm going to taste test my dessert and all of that. Okay, So let's cut into this really good looking, very rustic cherry galette. The filling, oh my gosh, I was really excited about the filling. I'm not even really sure where to start to cut it, but let's just go on in here. Oh my gosh, that looks delicious. Ooh. Let me make sure that I have some of that filling. I'm more of a crust person, so I really like galettes because it's a lot of crust. Oh my. I got more of that crust. It's like flaky and buttery. It is delicious. I'm glad that I decided to add on the almonds at the end. You don't have to do that. I know it's supposed to be like budget friendly, so I already had almonds in my refrigerator. I didn't purchase them for this. Mostly because I like to put like sliced almonds and nuts and things on my oatmeal. So I had some all ready to go in the fridge. So I put some on, and I always kind of have like confectioner sugar because I bake a lot. So I sprinkled on some confectioner sugar. Again, that's completely optional. But I will say, if you have any types of nuts on hand, especially if you have like some sliced almonds, it adds like a really nice extra crunch to the pastry. Oh, it's really good. I'm really, really proud of it. Like, it's really, really good. So I'll leave the recipe for this in the description because I feel like I had a little trouble with it as far as like getting it out of the oven, or not getting out of the oven, but transferring it over. I should have waited for it to cool. I was being impatient. So I kind of broke it up a little bit. So I want to take better pictures of it before I get it on to quirkypineapples.com, but I would like to put it on there because it is absolutely delicious. But I'll put the recipe in the description box. But I would say this saves a lot of money because, I mean, all in all, you probably already have this stuff in your pantry, and you just probably have to purchase like the cherries. And the cherries, like I said, were only like $2 at Trader Joe's, like $2.50 at Trader Joe's. So being able to like make a pastry at home, especially like if you've gone to bakeries, like I feel like something like this for just like a slice of something like this, just a vegan pastry that's ready to go, is gonna cost you about $5 a slice or $7 a slice, which God forbid, hopefully not. But yeah, that way you can make your own things at home. Of course, bean dishes tend to not cost very much to make. I mentioned in previous videos, spices are always a really good investment to have on hand because you're going to use them over and over again. Like this berbere spice, this Ethiopian spice, is going to be used a lot. I already know I'm going to try it out with lentils. I already know I want to probably try it out. Maybe even like with tofu in some kind of way. I would love to try it out in that way. But just experimenting in the kitchen, but also, like I said, saving money as opposed to buying these things out. And now I've got dessert for the next couple of days. I've got dinner for the next couple of days. I've got lunch for the next couple of days. And I've got breakfast for the next couple of days. So definitely got my money's worth and stretched it out today. And I'm really proud of myself. And I really hope you try these recipes. If you're looking for any more great recipes, you can head over to quirkypineapples.com. And also, if you are starting out your plant-based journey, or you're curious about some great spices that can be used, or some great ingredients that can be used to make, more of like your whole food. I mostly eat a whole food plant-based diet, about 80-20. But finding the right whole foods and things that are going to give you lots of fiber and protein, calcium, vitamin C, all that good stuff, I have a guide for you. It's completely free. You just pop in your email and I send it right over to you. I'll make sure to put that link in the description box as well. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me again today. I feel like it's been a while since I've done a what I eat in a day. And this time I wanted to do a what I eat in a day with some extra help, and hopefully this helps you out with saving a little coin, but also being able to have a range of really delicious meals. Now, of course, you may not make all of these in one day, but at least you've got some great ideas, hopefully, for your plant-based journey and trying to save a little money by cooking at home, because it's almost always food at home. But yeah, thanks again for joining me. If you stayed with me this far along in the video, go ahead and drop a cherry emoji. in the video, and share with me some more of your struggle meals that you make when you are trying to save some coin. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.